What up, y'all? Welcome in to Skolcial Network. Brev, is this episode 4?
Yeah. If my knowing how to count is correct, yeah, we're at a month straight Fridays. Today's a little late, but
Welcome to Skolcial Network, where elementary school math is pretty much all you're gonna get. But hey, that's 1 month of Skolcial Network. I will be celebrating by having one beer and then going to bed. But we have a special guest today, Brev. Who we got with us?
we have SK from Purple and Scold Media. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
if SK here today, if you'd love to go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do, anything you want to let the people know, the floor is yours.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, like Brev said, my name is SK, or I go by SK. My name is Sean Kenner. I am the creator of Purple and Scold Media, and I also have a great team around me. I can, shout out those guys probably towards the end of the show. But creator of Purple and Scold Media, also on Twitter at SK_NFL. And yeah, man, just love to talk Vikings football. So any chance I get to do so, I take advantage of it. But happy 1 month anniversary, guys.
Thank you. It's like we're in high school again, where you celebrate the months. It's like, oh, we break up after 2 weeks.
Yeah, Brev and I haven't had a falling out. And technically, I think 2 weeks ago we said that we were working on getting canceled. We haven't gotten there yet, but we'll see how desperate we get during post-draft to training camp. But
yeah, there's no Kirk Cousins now, so it's a little more.
I mean, everybody's in unity, holding hands. It's how that works, right?
Weird, isn't it?
So, SK, I know you and I we met through Twitter. I'm sure that's how most of us got to meet in general at this point. We did get to hang out a little bit at the game of the year, the absolute barn burner that was Vikings at Raiders. What was your experience like at that game, and what was the best moment for you, I guess, out of the one or two that may have existed?
Oh man, I'm not kind of sucking up to you right now, but the best part of that day was probably us taking the picture with you in the astronaut hat.
I missed that thing.
There wasn't very much action that day in the stadium. If you guys don't remember, it ended up ending 3-0 in a defensive battle against the Raiders, which is kind of crazy.
Hey, they scored didn't they score like 40 points in the first half the next week on Monday Night Football? Yeah. They did something stupid.
Yeah, they're just saving it for the following week. So we got away with one, missing that high-powered offense led by Aiden O'Connell. So yeah, no, it was it was a good time. Outside of the game, I'll be honest, the game I dozed off a couple times. It was really bad. I was hungover too, so I guess that didn't really help. You're expecting to see a really good game. You're in Vegas, of course, so you take advantage. And then it was just kind of a complete letdown. Outside of us winning the game, which it was cool, I guess, but just
the cake stand,
the
cake stand celebration.
Oh yeah, a little celebration at the end, but the crash
ironically timed,
and that was hard to see. So it was just crazy how quick the script flipped on Joshua Dobbs to us kind of embracing him as the pastronaut. And then by halftime, we're all yelling for Nick Mullins to get in the game. And we kind of got our wish. And he looked good for 2 possessions and got us 3 points on the board. And that's all we needed to win the game. So, yeah, no, the game sucked. But the food was good. And our picture was pretty fucking awesome. So
I was a fan. Ironically, I think I was telling you before, a kid stole my astronaut helmet after. So quite the ending, I guess. Brev, did you just watch that game from home? How did you stay awake watching that not there?
Pure motivation and raw ability. I was sitting in the chair right next to me, actually, for the 3.5-4 hours that felt like a lifetime. And now I powered through that bitch. Like it was bad. Yeah. So I would assume being there was like maybe a little more fun than that. I guess spending all that money on the tickets was, I guess that probably kind of sucked for that.
Priciest Raiders game of the year too.
Yeah.
That's what was the crazy part. We spent so much money on such a shitty game to where I think that's what most people were upset about. Like US Bank Stadium, Minnesota, ticket prices are reasonable, but Vegas it was like double the price of any Vikings home game. So
yeah, and
that's what hurt the most.
Ticket prices are always reasonable on SeatGeek.
Oh no.
Or you can use code BREV, BREV, for $20 off your first purchase.
Hey, SeatGeek, I submitted an application to get the Brev thing. I know you're watching this. Hit your boy back. I can't let him get in all the ad deals.
Crimea River.
Hey, is what it is. But yeah, that was my favorite part of that entire game was definitely the fact that the Raiders, like in-house entertainment, had no idea who was in town, and they kept beating a drum without realizing what they were starting. That was my favorite part. That mixed with the bad 90s cover band they had as their in-stadium entertainment. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. But we're on to bigger and better things.
Thank God.
We're here in 2024. I know. Hopefully we never have to experience that again. What are your thoughts on this offseason so far? I know Brev and I have spent a few weeks sharing our thoughts. How you feeling?
I mean, if you want to kind of label it as one word, I would say exciting, because we don't necessarily know what's around the corner. I mean, I think we all are in unison and agree that we're going to draft a quarterback, and pretty high chances that we trade up to draft a quarterback. So that's exciting. The Minnesota Vikings have never drafted a quarterback in the top 10 of a draft. We're sitting at 11 right now. So it looks like we're going to trade up possibly into the top 4, top 5 to draft a quarterback. And that's exciting, guys. It's a first for this franchise's history. So I'm excited for that. And there's a couple guys that really pique my interest that would fit in perfect with the Minnesota Vikings. And I mean, obviously with the roster that we have and the talent that we have, any quarterback is going to want to play with this team and throw the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So, and we got a decent offensive line too. So we can kind of fall back on that. It's been a long time since we could actually say that. Say, hey, we got a good offensive line. Come on over and play with us. It's kind of a shame we didn't have a very good offensive line with Kirk Cousins. In the year that we did have a good offensive line, he decided to rupture his Achilles, which kind of sucked. But we're not talking about him. He's the Atlanta quarterback, right? My bad. That's my fault. But no,
you spoke about him.
I'm sorry.
He who shall not be named. Well, there's a couple. It's him and Bo Nix, who I also just name dropped. But just quarterbacks, we don't even need to mention. But you did say there's a couple different guys. I'm assuming we're not talking Spencer Rattler and Joe Milton here. Who are the guys that you like in this draft that you're willing to make that trade up for?
It's funny that you mentioned those two guys. Those are the two guys I want us to completely stay away from. Please. I mean, Bo Nix is I'm not a big fan of Bo Nix. I'm not a big fan of Michael Penix, and I don't care what his 40 time is. Straight line speed does not matter in the pocket. Okay, you're a statue in the pocket. You cannot throw the ball on the run to save your life. So I don't want to hear the Michael Penix crap. I don't care about his 40 time. You don't run 40 times at your pro day as a quarterback unless you're trying to prove something. And obviously he has those knee injuries, but I don't think we need to worry about Penix or Bo Nix. I think we're going up to grab one of the top 4 quarterbacks. And if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you kind of tap in, or YouTube on Purple and Skull Media, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm a big Michigan guy. So I love JJ McCarthy. I love the upside of JJ McCarthy. The kid's only 21 years old. The most winning quarterback in Michigan history, national champion, a leader, has all the intangibles in the world. And you can mold him. And he's like a split image of Kevin O'Connell. So he's going to have like his little twin in the building if we do go and draft him. But I would say in the past week or two, I've really been warming up to the idea of Drake May. And I know there was a lot of people that loved him just in general throughout the season. I was kind of the latter. I was more JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels. We don't even need to speak about Caleb Williams and his nails being painted and all that crap, which is ridiculous to me. But I'm a big JJ McCarthy guy. Drake May, I'm warming up to. I like what I see from Drake May. And just seeing kind of the moves, not necessarily as far as the players this offseason that the Vikings have picked up, but if you look at the coaching staff, I mean, first name that we can point out is Josh McCown. He was Drake May's coach in high school, and he's a great quarterback coach in general. So any quarterback that comes in is going to be set up to succeed, whether it's JJ McCarthy, whether it's Drake May, whether it's Jaden Daniels, or even if you do decide to just sit back and draft one of these other guys, which I don't think we're going to do, they're going to be in a perfect position to be successful in the NFL. And they can only blame themselves if they aren't, in my opinion. So, but just the way things are lining up with the coaching staff and everything, I think we're taking aim at Drake May, but I also think we really, really like JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy's my guy. If we're taking Caleb Williams out of the equation, because I think we all agree he's going to go number 1 to the Chicago Bears, so we can kind of take him off the board. But then we're looking at the next 3 guys, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and JJ McCarthy. If you were to ask me, and this may be my curveball, if I put those guys in order, I would go Drake May, JJ McCarthy, and Jaden Daniels as QB4. I'm not a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I don't know if it's people kind of getting caught up in the whole Heisman Trophy winner, and it's kind of understandable, but a lot of the times you being a Heisman Trophy winner doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL, and we've seen it before with guys like Chris Leak from Florida years ago, and who was it? Jason White out of was it Oklahoma?
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. So there's a lot of guys that win the Heisman that just don't translate to the NFL. And this is kind of maybe surprising coming from me because I live in Jaden Daniels' hometown. I grew up in Jaden Daniels' hometown. He went to high school literally 5 minutes up the street from me. So you would think I would be all in for Jaden Daniels. And if he is drafted by the Vikings, sure, I'm a Jaden Daniels fan because he's a Vikings quarterback. But if I had a choice, and I had a choice out of those 3 guys, Drake May and JJ McCarthy are going to be my 1A, 1B. And then I would say Jaden Daniels after that. And also, that elbow thing kind of freaks me out.
That was weird.
That was weird. That was weird. So it may be small, but when you are investing in a guy to be your franchise quarterback and you're trading up into the top 5 and giving up a lot of draft capital to do so, those little things matter. So he would be my quarterback 4 overall in this draft. But if we get him, hey, I'm a Jaden Daniels fan.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with like the offense that the Vikings run. I just don't see him being a great fit. Well, I mean, you and Brev probably are the leaders of the McCarthy hype train at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, we got to throw Thor in there too.
Thor,
Nice.
Oh, well, yeah, Thor goes without saying. I feel bad even not. I'm like, he's such an assumed king of that train that I failed by even not mentioning him.
Of people with less than 35,000 followers. Yeah, I think that's fair that we leave.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What about Crack
Prev's
Rock?
take on JJ McCarthy though?
Jason, you okay with this? I can be on about this.
Are you not a JJ McCarthy guy,
No, hold on. I'm the opposite of you in the sense that I was big on May and did not want McCarthy, and now I like both. But that a lot of that came from Thor, to be honest, and this Crack Rock guy on Twitter who is just my favorite follow right now on the internet. But Brev's been leading the charge outside of Thor pretty significantly.
For McCarthy, he gets the knock, and this is stuff I've kind of said before on here, but to put it quickly, he gets the knock of being on the super team with Michigan and whatnot. And really, if you look at Michigan, they don't have any players in this draft, at least, that are going other than McCarthy before the 3rd round. Like, he's got a bunch of interior linemen that are going in the 6th and 7th round. So, and I know it's easy to look at Jaden Daniels as a perfect example of, you see the production he put up last year with 40-something touchdowns and like a handful of picks.
I think like 4 picks or something like that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. Don't get me wrong, but it's not always about the production. With McCarthy, you're taking the gamble of, and I completely understand why people say they don't want to trade up multiple firsts for him, but you're not doing that based off what he did in college alone. You're doing that based off of, he has just about every single tool you possibly want in a quarterback to mold. And with Kevin O'Connell, I know I have reservations about Kevin O'Connell as a play caller sometimes, for sure, but I do trust him to mold a quarterback 100%. So you're not getting McCarthy based off of, he threw 50 touchdowns and he completely carried a team. You're getting him based off of, let me look past the fact that Michigan just didn't have to unleash JJ McCarthy to win games. The tools are all there. He's he's a Midwest. He was like a big time junior hockey player before he committed to football, which again, that doesn't really matter. But like just thinking of his fit in Minnesota, like it's perfect.
Yeah, I think for me with him, that really sticks out. I mean, obviously, I said it earlier, the leadership, the intangibles, everything that you want in a quarterback, he has. If he needs to scramble, he can scramble. He has a great arm. I feel like he's the most accurate quarterback in this draft class. But what sticks out most to me that a lot of people might not necessarily talk about right now, and it, again, I'm sorry for bringing up his name again, what Kirk Cousins lacked is that it factor. He has that it factor that a lot of guys just don't have. Yes, they can have
Swag.
he has a little bit of swagger.
It's not artificial. You don't have to have his teammates throw the chains on him.
Exactly. And you can kind of compare that to a Joe Burrow. He's just a natural leader. He just has a natural swagger to him, and it's his own kind of just way of carrying himself. So you having that it factor matters. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it factor. You don't even know what it. Nobody knows what it factor is. No, it's a thing. It's really a thing, especially at the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins didn't have that it factor. He can make every throw on the field, no matter where it was. Kirk Cousins had all the arm talent in the world, but he didn't have that it factor. He didn't have that grittiness in him. Like Brev said, that Midwest kind of toughness that JJ McCarthy kind of brings to the table. So I think that's a bigger deal than what a lot of people think. And we've heard it all over national media and all the pundits and everything that are all kind of hopping on the JJ McCarthy train, is that he kind of just, it's like you said, it's natural. He just carries himself in a different way. And it's a thing to me. I hold that in high regard. And that was always my problem with our former quarterback, is that he didn't have that extra juice that you needed, that you would need in a big game, or that you would need on one last possession to win the game necessarily. So that's what I love about JJ McCarthy. He has things that you can't necessarily see on paper, and he has a lot that you can see on film. It's just not a huge sample size that we get from him. But when he's put to the test, when it's third down, he has the best numbers. When it's crunch time, he has the best numbers. When his team needed him, he came through time and time again. So, and the kid's only 21 years old. You have plenty of time to mold him. Hell, if you wanted to go into the season, I don't think you're going to want to start Sam Darnold for the entire year, especially if you're trading up into the top 5. But you have that option with JJ McCarthy, because it's not like you're drafting a guy in Bo Nix who's like 32 years old as a rookie or whatever, however the hell old he is. He's 21 years old. If he sits out a year, he's going to be coming in as a starter next year at 22, 23 years old, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I just think he fits what the Minnesota Vikings are looking for, him and Drake May, because like we said earlier, Josh McCown was Drake May's quarterback, or his head coach in high school, and that's a big correlation there. There's a reason why we went and hired Josh McCown. So those two guys are a perfect fit, and I think even more so JJ McCarthy. Now we got to develop a run game. I think that's going to help any rookie quarterback that comes in, and Aaron Jones is definitely going to improve our run game from last year. But I also think that's a KLC thing, but that's a conversation probably for another day or another subject. But those are the two guys that fit our system the most, and mainly JJ McCarthy, in my opinion.
Here's where maybe I diverge a little from you two. I do love McCarthy, and I think how I would put it is he's got that dog in him. Like the first personality thing I noticed was when Harbaugh got suspended and he got off in his jersey with his name out saying free Harbaugh. I was like, that's a leader. Like, that's cool. I think, because what was the big talk before Kevin O'Connell showed up with Kirk was his ability to throw the ball deep, but that sometimes he was hesitant and took the safer route. Not like we've ever seen that happen in a playoff game scenario on 4th and 8 or something. We never saw that happen, hypothetical. But I think the risk is, you have to make the choice of, do you want somebody who's balanced like McCarthy, or somebody with insane highs, sometimes compared to Josh Allen, I think a little unfairly to May. that could go off the rails, but if it works, you could really extend the field deep. I think watching Drake May would be like more exciting at its peak. I think McCarthy could be very surgical and precise. Both, I think, benefit the team.
We want to win, though. I get the whole we want to be exciting and we want to push the ball down the field, but we've gone 60 plus years as a franchise in Minnesota without winning the big game. Let's get somebody that can win the big game. And I'm not sitting here saying JJ McCarthy is going to win the big game. He's going to win the Super Bowl for us. But, you know, sometimes we got to look outside of, oh, well, he's the exciting player. Jaden Daniels is probably the most exciting player outside of Caleb Williams at the quarterback position. But if we want to sit here and say, who's the meticulous, Tom Brady wasn't exciting. And I know Tom Brady's kind of in a class of his own and you don't want to compare him to anybody, but he wasn't Mr. Exciting outside of the year that he had with Randy Moss. He wasn't the guy that was just slinging it around every game and just making these incredible athletic plays. He was methodical. He would take long 10 to 15 play drives down the field, check it down when he needed to, and always made the right play. JJ McCarthy is a guy that's going to make the right play 9 out of 10 times, possibly 10 out of 10 times. So I just want to win the damn Super Bowl, man. I want to be successful.
That's another point I wanted to make is that there's gonna be Vikings fans. I mean, I get it, but unfortunately, McCarthy is not gonna come in, even maybe in his first couple of years, and throw for 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards like Kirk did every season. That's not gonna happen.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean the team's in a worse spot. So with Kirk, none of us, I think, are going to disagree with the fact that he's a top 12 quarterback. And I think I'm being like kind of insulting saying he's a top 12 quarterback. I think he's more like a top 8, top 10 over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But like, sorry for cussing. I could not give a shit less what he does in week 9 against the New Orleans Saints. Like, his fault or not, we won one playoff game in 5.5, 6 years with him.
Yep.
Again, the Vikings did a not great job about giving him a defense and an offensive line for most of the time. But there's just a point where you have to scrap everything and restart. And Luke Braun, I think, tweeted it like 70 to 80% of this team is now officially Kwesi's team. So 2022 draft sucked. 2023 draft, you drafted Jordan Addison, but like, congrats, that was the obvious pick. I can't give that much credit to Kwesi for that. Like, yeah,
fight on, baby.
Yeah. I don't like, this is the beginning of Kwesi's official. I don't want to say it's the beginning of his tenure, but like now we're in Kwesi's vision.
In a lot of ways, it is. I would actually agree with you saying that.
It kind of scares me based off the first draft and a lot of the second draft, but all we can do is kind of buckle in. And like Kirk, I think they knew last year, like the Achilles tear definitely played a factor into whether or not he was coming back. But when they denied a discounted extension from him last season, like we knew Kirk wasn't coming back after this year. So
the injury made it a little easier for us to move on, especially the cash that Atlanta gave him. It was like, okay, there's nobody that can sit here as a Vikings fan and be mad that we didn't pay Kirk Cousins to come back. Like,
you'd be shocked. You've been on Twitter.
Yeah, those people may have blocked me on Twitter, so I may not have seen them talking on Twitter, but no, like after seeing the money that Kirk had gotten, there was really no other option but to move on and to go get your rookie quarterback. And like Brev said, that 2022 draft was terrible. I was in Vegas for that draft and was sitting there like, what the hell? As soon as we made,
you need to stop going to Vegas.
Stop going to Vegas.
What are you doing? You're not allowed near any Vikings
right?
events in Las Vegas ever again.
Yeah, no, I know. I need to stay far, far away. We won't be in Vegas for a long time, so I don't think we need to worry about that. But when he made that trade down, as soon as they announced the trade, in my head, I'm saying, oh, crap, we got another first-round pick in the 2023 draft. This is perfect. I'm completely fine with moving down 20 spots, even though it's with the divisional rival. We got another first-round pick next year. And when I saw the compensation, I was extremely like, wait a minute. We didn't even get a first-round pick in return? This makes no sense whatsoever. And then to double down on it and draft a safety when you had a guy like Kyle
Don't say
Hamilton
there it is.
sitting there to where you had the perfect successor to Harrison Smith. And I love Harrison Smith. He's still on the team. This is probably his last year in the league. If you were to ask me, then I think he's going to retire after this year. But you had the perfect setup for a guy coming out of Notre Dame and Kyle Hamilton, and then just replacing him, replacing Harrison Smith with a Kyle Hamilton. Don't have to worry about the cap hit or anything. It was just a perfect scenario. But no, you wanted to trade 20 spots down with the freaking Lions, and not that the Lions got anybody crazy talented in Jameson Williams. That's done.
The first tweet that just popped up is somebody making fun of the Lions and his 395 career receiving yards. I'm literally just keeping Twitter updated, and that tweet is literally the first thing that popped up.
So, but if you're not getting a first round pick in that, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with Kwesi. And I was a Rick Spielman fan. Outside of him always trading down to the 7th round and him not being able to identify a quarterback. Outside of that, Rick was a pretty good drafter. His draft analysis was pretty good. If you look at guys like Christian Darrisaw, look at guys, Justin Jefferson fell to us. I don't want to know how much credit you want to give him for Justin Jefferson. But if you look at positions of need that we had outside of the quarterback position and half of his tenure with the interior offensive line, Brian O'Neill in the 2nd round, Christian Darrisaw. You look at guys like Danielle Hunter. You look at guys like, who else can I say? Harrison Smith. You can look at guys like Xavier Rhodes. There was a lot of talent that he brought on this team, and people just kind of look past that and say, oh, Rick Spielman was terrible. He was always trading down and gathering all these 7th round picks and couldn't draft a quarterback. Well, if you want to compare, the first couple drafts of Rick Spielman's tenure and the first couple drafts of Kwesi's tenure, it's kind of obvious Rick Spielman's the better drafter at this point. Now, Kwesi has time to shift that. If he picks the right quarterback here, then we won't be having this discussion. It won't matter. But he's got a lot to prove because his second draft wasn't that great either. So
here's what I'd say, because I'm known as the Kwesi defender apparently on Twitter, just because I kind of take the approach Brev did earlier where we're like, we couldn't, it's fair to say like we don't have a huge sample size, but I'm going to disagree with you because there are at least 2 drafts of Spielman's that were as bad, if not worse, than 2022 for Kwesi.
But how many years though? Was it?
That's what I'm saying, right? And that's where he basically has to be perfect going forward.
Yeah.
But to that point, the fact that Rick could not identify that quarterback means that if in 12 years, if Kwesi can do that in year 3, because so far I really like this offseason, but if he can, why is Siri recording and trying to say back what I'm saying? But if he can do that in year 3, I think that at least puts him at the level of impact that Spielman had, maybe even ahead. Because those teams Spielman drafted, we got one NFC championship game in 2017. And then was he even, Brev, maybe you might know, maybe SK, you might know, wasn't Childress making most of the personnel decisions in 2008, 2009?
I think, wasn't Spielman's first draft as GM the Ponder draft? Because he was
possibly he was in the building, yeah.
But
I thought it was the Harrison Smith draft.
I could be wrong, yeah.
They could have been close. They were close. Yeah. So, yeah, Childress was effectively making the decisions. And obviously, 2009 was a lot of veterans and the Favre situation. I'm not going to say a draft class necessarily put us over the edge there other than Percy Harvin. But I would agree to look at an equal sample size. But if he can do in year 3 what Spielman could never fully do, I'm going to feel like we're on a good path. Personally.
Oh, yeah. If you identify the right quarterback, then that just puts you, steps ahead of Rick Spielman. Quarterback's the most important position in the NFL. So if you can identify a quarterback, then Kwesi's going to be loved forever in Minnesota, and he's going to be here a long time. But after this draft, if you don't identify the quarterback, then I'm at the point where I'm just we're going to be the 2020 LA Rams. F them picks. Trade them away. Get guys that are proven that can play, and get them on our football team. Play your money ball strategy, give them the money, spread it out however you want to do it. Let Rob Brzezinski work his magic. So identify the quarterback. If you get that right, go ahead and keep drafting. But at that point, if that doesn't work out, F them picks. Trade them away, get guys that are proven.
Very true.
I would tend to agree. It would be funny. If you're looking for a good veteran quarterback, like a top 10 to 12 guy, you could even trade for the Falcons quarterback, see what happens there.
Hey, man, Aaron Rodgers might be a free agent next year.
I don't know if I could handle that experience again.
No. Might be fun. I don't know.
Oh, man.
So, Sean, you have something you did last year that you've been teasing the return of, I believe, twice. One in Minnesota, one on the road in LA. Go ahead and tell the people about Skolfest and what they can expect.
Yeah, so last year we myself, Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, my guy Rap, who also goes by Vocal Vike now, and then GG Sports and a couple other guys, Justin Day, Yogi Howard. We all put together, I mean, it's kind of describes what your name is, a Skolcial network, to where we have a bunch of Vikings bloggers and content creators, and that's kind of what it originated from. Like, hey, let's just get a bunch of people together and let's go have some drinks and kind of party together. And then it kind of slowly turned into, let's make this an event. Let's actually put on a live show, and then after the live show we just all party together and we give away a bunch of stuff and memorabilia and tickets to the game. And then that turned into us getting JJ Vikings, which a lot of you guys are familiar of actually flying him out from Boston to his first Minnesota Vikings game in Minnesota. So it had a lot of different aspects that kind of formed into one big event that's called Skolfest. And it was great last year. We had a great turnout, a bigger turnout than we could even possibly imagine, from when we are expecting 30 to 50 people, and 30 to 50 people turned into 150 people. So it was a great time. We got to meet a lot of people from Twitter and YouTube and content creators, and not just content creators, but people that actually watch our show from different parts of the country, whether it be in Minnesota or whether it be we had guys from New Jersey, we had guys from Canada come out, we had guys from Germany come out, and we even had people that had no idea who we were. They just found the event online and popped up and decided to come out and have a good time with us. So we ended up giving away free tickets to the season opener last year. I think it was 4 or 5 tickets that we gave away. So we decided to make it a yearly thing. So we are doing the home opener this year, whether it's week 1, 2, or 3. Usually it's either 1 or 2. So we'll be doing a home opener Skolfest, which that's what we did last year. And we're doing Skolfest LA. So we're going to do a road one. And we all know Minnesota Vikings fans that live in Minnesota love to travel to the West Coast for those away games. So we know we're going to have a really big crowd coming out for Skolfest LA. We got Shelby Tweetin that's going to be co-hosting with me for the LA event, and hopefully for the home opener as well, if she can make it to that one. So we got a lot of people with their hands in Skolfest too. And we're only going to get bigger and better, man. So definitely keep an eye out on Twitter and on our YouTube, Purple and Scold Media, for updates on that. And obviously, when the schedule comes out, we'll have a better idea of the dates and the times and the location and everything like that. So, yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a great time. It was free last year. It's going to be free this year. We might include a VIP kind of package for the LA Skolfest. So that, we might charge a little bit for that, but it's VIP. You might get to meet some people that you always wanted to meet as far as players go, get some free food, some free drinks. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff in motion. We even got a possible tailgate show for the home opener in the works as well. So, yeah, be on the lookout for it, man. It's a great time. Nothing but good vibes. And it's Vikings, baby, Talk Vikings, have fun. We have a gritty contest. We had a gritty contest last year. We gave away a bunch of crap. So, definitely be on the lookout for that, man. I love it.
Can we do it at a Chuck E. Cheese this year so I could bring my kid who will be like a year old at that time?
We had kids at the other one.
Oh, let's ride. Let's
one.
go.
I mean, we didn't have babies at the first one, but
hey, he'll be a toddler. Okay.
Yeah. Bring him along. I got you. We'll get him in. Put a little X on his hand.
Yeah. So now the real thing we got to do is so he doesn't try to get a different type of bottle. Yeah. The main thing we got to do, because I'll be at the home opener, is get Brev out.
Yes, Brev, you got to get out here, man.
I'm looking at flights.
I'm the king of flying.
We don't even know the date. How are you looking at flights?
I mean, you can guesstimate. You can get a estimation of what it's going to be.
He's gonna buy a Spirit Airlines flight and for the wrong weekend and just be stuck in Minnesota the wrong weekend on the worst airline.
I'll make the 18-hour drive before I
Fly
fly.
Sun Country. Shout out Sun Country. Airline based out of Minnesota. The cheapest, really nice. Look up Sun Country. I've
heard good things. I've heard good things.
Yeah, but don't fly Spirit, and for God's sakes, don't fly Frontier. I hope Frontier is never a sponsor of you guys' show, but don't ever fly Frontier ever in your life. So I'm the king of finding cheap flights, though, Brev. I'll be sure to hook you up and send you some prices. So
it's funny. I got a DM earlier today from Frontier, so I guess I gotta
block them. Block them.
Why? Why?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Do they owe you money?
I don't know, dude. You're just coming up with random sponsorships out of nowhere. So apparently you're a hot commodity. I don't know.
Hollywood.
Brev, sponsored by Vienna Sausages. Go get your Vienna sausages at your local supermarket.
I was deny that one all day long. We should all go to WrestleMania next year too. That's going to be in Minneapolis.
Is that for sure?
It's confirmed?
I think it's as sure as it can be.
Wow. I just recently started getting back into wrestling because they're starting to cuss now and stuff. And I'm like, yes, wrestling's back. Yes.
That's all it took.
Wearing a thong. Yes.
Yeah. If it's between Minneapolis and Vegas, if it's in Vegas, Sean, you're not going.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go.
I know, right? Vikings player there just happens to snap his leg or tear his ACL walking down the stands because I was there.
A coach gets arrested again. Like, yeah, just.
Well, since Roman Reigns is a former Viking, maybe something bad would happen to him.
Oh, Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
He won't be champ by then. Cody Rhodes will be champ.
Probably, yeah.
He's finishing the story.
Better.
Well, on that note, we're going to pivot into our new podcast with Sean and Brev talking wrestling because I don't know. I want to talk UFC. I got you. I don't know anything about wrestling.
Hey, we can talk that too. But hey, man, I'm telling you, you might want to get back into wrestling. It's going to be on Netflix and it's going to be like uncensored. And were you ever into wrestling?
I mean, I grew up. My sister was a teenager watching like The Undertaker and like that era, and my mom was like not pleased, so like wrestling went bye-bye pretty quick.
You know, this is like the Attitude Era is back. The Stone Cold, Rock, like Mick Foley kind of era is back. They're cussing, it's a whole lot more raunchy than what it's been in the past 10 to 15 years, which has been kind of like a PG John Cena boring era, which
Hey, don't insult John Cena. He's a great actor.
The corniest dude ever, man. I love him as an actor, but he's corny.
It's really cool now because unlike the Attitude Era, they have the Attitude Era back, but they like treat women as humans now.
Yeah,
which is a plus because they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. They're not getting canceled.
Yeah.
Aladdin, one last thing. It's been throughout the day, but it's for some reason people are getting notifications from ESPN on their phone. Trade talks heating up for the number 3 pick. Could be just a bunch of rumors. I mean, ESPN isn't. They'll kind of they're turned into an aggregator at this point. But something to keep an eye on, maybe. Possibly.
I'm not falling for it. I'm not.
It's not going to happen until the draft.
Yeah.
Well, they could have an agreement
until draft day. We're going to see how the first couple picks fall, and then I think we'll make our move on draft day.
I agree, but I think those conversations probably should be happening now with everyone picking 2 through 5.
I don't think pick 1, 2, or 3 gets traded. Well, obviously 1's not getting traded, but 2 and 3 aren't going to get traded. I think we're looking at pick 4 or 5, and more than likely it's going to be 5. I don't think Arizona wants to let Marvin Harrison, have a chance to fall to. Look, if they don't pick Marvin Harrison, then the Chargers will. Because the Chargers desperately need weapons for Justin Herbert. But I think Arizona goes Marvin Harrison, and at that point, your boy, or my boy, Jim Harbaugh, excuse me, I get them mixed up all the time. I think Jim Harbaugh says, you know what, Minnesota, I'm going to put J.J. McCarthy in the best possible situation so he could kind of prove me right as being the best quarterback in this draft. And I'm going to trade with Minnesota for their first 2 picks this year. And I would say probably a 3rd round pick. I think somebody kind of had that trade projection either today or yesterday. 2 first round picks and that 3rd round pick, I think gets it done.
I hope so. That'd be so cool to keep it like the bulk of it, like the first round picks. If you don't eat into your first round picks in the next couple of years, that would be sick.
Oh, and you got to, and I know we're getting out of here real quick. Jim Harbaugh is not going to trade within his own division with the Raiders.
No, for sure. Or the Broncos. Yeah.
There's no way in hell Jim Harbaugh is going to do that. So you are in prime
New York. New York is the only team you got to really think about.
Exactly. And that's who I'm worried about, because they have that 6th pick, and if they want to just load up on future first round picks and throw that at Arizona, or that's one team that Arizona I think will trade back with, because you still have a chance possibly at a Marvin Harrison, and if you don't, you can go out there and get a guy like Malik Neighbors, who I think is going to be a better prospect in the NFL than Marvin Harrison. I really like Malik Neighbors. So that would be the team that we should be worrying about as far as trading up. I'm not worried about Denver. I'm not worried about Oakland.
Or Oakland.
Las Vegas.
you hate Vegas so much you can't even acknowledge they exist.
Damn Vegas. Vegas hates you.
Would Jim Harbaugh want to spite Minnesota for not hiring him?
No, because that wasn't Kwesi's call.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story of why he didn't get hired.
Well, there's like 8 stories at this point.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
There's like
politics.
a million of politics, and then the other one being who's the guy who works who's one of the partial owners who's like a donor at Michigan who hated Harbaugh. There's that side. Mm-hmm. There's a million rumors. It's like the Teddy injury at this point. Everyone has a different conspiracy theory. Only a few people know what really happened.
Fair.
Yeah, but we got our guy. KOC's our guy. It's okay.
No, I love
Harbaugh with a
I love Harbaugh, but I don't know. Looking at what the Chargers are going to be, I don't know if I want to watch 1930s offense. So,
I'm telling you right now, Harbaugh is going to get the Chargers right. The Chargers will be a contender. Maybe not this year, but coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, Chargers are going to be a major contender in the AFC.
Yeah, but we've grown up in Southern California. We've heard that every year our entire life about the Chargers.
Harbaugh is a winner. He wins wherever he goes, and he builds from the trenches out, like every franchise should do. Trenches out, they are going to be a problem. I promise you. He's already got the quarterback. Promise you. Mark my words.
Be able to throw it to someone.
Chargers going to be a problem in the next few years.
I completely agree. You know, it's not.
I'll believe it when I see it. I've just heard that too often.
It's that Harbaugh effect, man.
I like Harbaugh. I like him, but there's certain franchises, and unfortunately, our team is one of these teams where, no matter how hyped it gets, it's just always historically pain. So I like to see it in action first.
They're definitely the AFC version of the Vikings. So
I think Buffalo is way more.
Yeah. They're fighting for that title, right?
We're both 0-4.
Yeah, theirs was just 4 in a row.
Yeah, that's.
You know how else you can see live action?
Oh, let me guess. SeatGeek?
Yeah. Oh, you beat me to it. What code is it?
Brev? I don't know.
I like it when you say it. I like when you have to say it.
I don't have to.
He said
SeatGeek.
He said say it slow.
I will start cutting out Brev's plugs unless you approve my application.
Sorry, I run the Twitter. I guess
TikTok.
You're on the clock, SeatGeek.
Well, you didn't even use our Twitter. You just put your name on it.
Yeah.
Wow, Brev. Selfish.
I created the Twitter page like a year ago.
Selfish. He's getting the residuals too. He's hiding those from you, Jason.
Hey, the original graphic for the Skolcial Network Twitter page was a Snapchat font. I went and texted Eli, and I got us some real graphics.
Just wait till I tell him that Dustin DM me on the side about the residuals for our ad revenue on the YouTube channel.
All like $3.50.
Yeah, it was 4.
Go get that guac at Chipotle. But Sean, last thing you want to tell the people where to find you, what to look out for in the immediate, maybe draft watch party, anything like that you guys got going on.
Yeah, we're definitely doing a draft watch party on Purple and Skull Media on YouTube. All of our shows are live, so we are completely interactive with you guys. We might have you guys hop on during the show, So we like bringing guests on and everything. So make sure you go hit that subscribe button on Purple and Skull Media. Hit that little bell so you get those notifications when we do go live. And follow me on Twitter at @SK_NFL. I talk a lot of shit on there, and I like to get my point through, and I like to argue a little bit sometimes. We all got our own opinion. I'm not going to judge you. We're not always right, but go ahead and hit that follow button on Twitter at @SK_NFL, man. Appreciate you guys.
The voice of a man who has been on YouTube longer than Brev and I have been. Ring the bell. Or hit the bell.
Ring the bell. Ring, ring.
I started thinking about WrestleMania again. That you can get tickets for on. Never mind, I'm not.
On SeatGeek.
Right.
On that note, we will wrap up our fourth. I almost said fourth and final. I don't know why, and I hope that's not the case. Hopefully, we still have stuff to talk about next. There it is, Brev. Hopefully, we still have stuff to talk about next week. Brev will be going to watch a Twitch streamer. What's his name again? I just see him everywhere.
Thank you, brother. Sketch. Yeah, that. I'm actually going to count my money that I'm making off the Skolcial network.
Oh, man.
That'll take you approximately 18 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll have a little more to talk about. Maybe a trade up to 5, maybe a trade up to 3. I don't know. Sounds like SK and Brev aren't the biggest fans of any first round picks beyond this year, but we'll see what KOC and Kwesi want to make happen. We'll see you guys then.